Okay. Okay. Week 5 is for cost volume profit analysis. Okay. So our manufacturing cost includes your product cost, which are your direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. In manufacturing overhead, you have your variable overhead and your fixed overhead. So what are your variable costs? Your direct material, direct labor, and your variable overhead. And your fixed cost is your fixed overhead. Okay. So we have now our cost volume profit graph. Okay. Wherein this is your fixed cost. Okay. The red one is your variable cost. And then the black one is your sales. Okay. And the 3 points meet at this level, and we call this the break even point. Okay, so it means that we can sell 5,000 units at 100,000, and after that we will have our net profit. So if you plan to sell 10,000 units, if you can sell 5,000 units, you have now your break even point. It means you will have no profit nor loss, and you will get back your investment. So you did the lower one, this one, oops, this one, we call this the, if your sale is below this level, you get, you have a loss. And if your sale is up to here, the upper one, you have a profit. This is the profit area. Okay. So the cost volume profit analysis is a method for analyzing the relationship among cost, volume, and profits. It is a critical factor in setting a selling price, determining product mix, and maximizing use of production facilities. And last, used to calculate the level of sales necessary to achieve a target profit. Okay, let's have one example. Geomark Textile Industries, we have product A and product B. Okay, so we have sales at 20,000 units at 10 pesos per unit. Okay, then our variable cost is 7 for the product cost and 4 for the period cost. So we get a contribution margin of 60. Okay, our fixed less your fixed cost will give you your net profit. Okay, the same with product B. Okay. Okay. The 80,000 is composed of product cost and period cost in your variable cost. While in your fixed cost, the composition of 26,000 is your product cost and period cost. So let's compute for the break-even point. Okay, for product A, we have the selling price at 10. The variable cost is 7. So our contribution margin is 3 pesos per unit. So later na lang yung product B. So our fixed cost is 45,000. Okay, how to compute for your break-even point in units? Okay, so fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. Okay, tandaan nyo lang, if we talk about units, your denominator should be per unit also. Tandaan nyo yan na pagka per unit, the denominator is per unit. Okay, so 45,000 fixed cost divided by your contribution margin per unit, and you get 15,000 units. It means that you have to sell 15,000 units to break even. Okay, now we compute for the break even point in pesos. fixed cost divided by contribution margin ratio. Okay, how do you compute for your contribution margin ratio? Okay, contribution margin of 3 pesos divide by selling price of 10 and you get 30% or 0.3. So so for product A, 45,000 divided by 0.3 and you get 150,000 pesos, which means that if your sales is 150,000, you have your break-even ka na. So wala ka nang nabalik na sa'yo yung investment mo na 150,000. The same with product B. We compute for the break-even point in units, 96,000 divided by contribution margin per unit and you get 16,000 units. While in break-even point in pesos, 96,000 divided by 0.6. How do you get 0.6? Contribution margin divided by your selling price and you get 0.6. And your break-even point is 160,000. Okay. So let's have another problem. We have the selling price of 7. The variable cost is 7. Your contribution margin is 3. Then, so fixed cost is 45,000 and the desired profit is 30,000. This means that you had, after computing for your break-even point, which is 0, you have no profit or nor gain. In this case, you wanted to know what will be your profit. I have decided, your desired profit now is 30,000, right? Gusto ko, after selling all my products, I will have a profit of 30,000. So the formula is your fixed cost plus your desired profit over your contribution margin per unit. Okay? You add sa fixed cost your desired profit, the 30,000. So 45 plus 30,000 divide by 3 and you get 35,000 units or 25,000 units. And the same thing with your break-even point in pesos. So 45,000 plus 30,000 divide by contribution margin ratio and your break-even point in pesos is 250,000. Okay? The same thing with product B. Your desired profit is also 30,000. So your fixed cost plus desired profit divide by your contribution margin per unit and you get 21,000 units, the break-even point in units. In your break-even point in pesos, your fixed cost plus your desired profit divide by your contribution margin ratio and you get 210,000. We will just talk later the margin of safety. Okay, let's have some exercises.